down there?
There is not a doubt in my mind. It's far enough away where all of y'all can stay out of my business. Come visit me.
From the very beginning, Tammy Slaton's story has captivated millions of viewers around the world. When 1000 Delby Sisters premiered back in 2020 on TLC, audiences were immediately drawn to Tammy and her sister Amy as they shared their struggles with obesity, family bonds, and the dream of living healthier lives. The sisters' combined weight of more than 1,000 pounds stunned audiences. But it was their openness, vulnerability, and sense of humor that turned them into household names. At her heaviest, Tammy weighed an unbelievable 725 pounds. She needed a walker and a wheelchair just to move short distances. And her dependence on an oxygen tube made even the smallest daily tasks feel like monumental challenges. For years, Tammy's health was in jeopardy. Doctors issued dire warnings, family members begged her to change, and fans online expressed both concern and frustration. But as the seasons went on, it became clear that Tammy's journey would not be an easy one. She struggled with food addiction, made repeated trips to rehab facilities, and often clashed with her family over her lifestyle. On top of that, Tammy endured heartbreaking personal struggles, most devastatingly. The loss of her husband, Caleb Willingham, who passed away at the age of 40 in 2023. It was a tragedy that left Tammy devastated, but ultimately more determined than ever to fight for her health and her future. Despite the setbacks, Tammy pushed forward. Her resilience became one of the most powerful aspects of her story. After years of setbacks and frustrations, Tammy finally reached the point where she could qualify for bariatric surgery, a major step that would help her shed the weight that had defined her life for so long. The road there was grueling. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Tammy admitted that she actually gained more than 100 pounds from being stuck indoors. And the original requirement of losing 30 pounds ballooned into a much more difficult 130-pound goal. She explained later in a podcast that this nearly broke her spirit. But somehow, with determination, support, and professional guidance, Tammy managed to do it. And once she crossed that threshold, everything began to change. Her bariatric surgery was a turning point, and the results were dramatic. Tammy started shedding weight at a pace no one could have imagined. Over time, she would go on to lose more than 540 pounds essentially. As she herself put it, the equivalent of losing 3 whole versions of me. This statement alone shocked fans around the world, who had watched her struggle for years and doubted whether she could ever get this far. Tammy's transformation has not just been physically, it's been deeply emotional. In interviews, she has spoken about how surreal it feels to see pictures of herself now and to think, wow, that's me. Her face, once swollen and hidden behind layers of weight, has slimmed down dramatically. Her smile looks brighter, her jawline sharper, and her entire presence feels renewed. In recent months, Tammy has also undergone skin removal surgery. It's a crucial next step after losing such a massive amount of weight. For anyone unfamiliar, skin removal is often one of the most intimidating surgeries after extreme weight loss. It involves removing large amounts of excess skin left behind once fat is shed. For Tammy, the procedure was more frightening than even her sleeve gastrectomy surgery. She admitted in an interview that the night before her skin removal, she was seriously freaking terrified. She feared how she would look at herself without her belly and admitted she was even more nervous than before her weight loss surgery, because this time, doctors were literally cutting away part of her body. The procedure lasted 8 hours and was extensive. Surgeons removed more than 15 pounds of excess skin from Tammy's chin, arms, and lower stomach. It was not just a cosmetic surgery, it was a life-changing step that improved her mobility, her health, and her confidence. Even Tammy herself was shocked by how well her body responded. Doctors had expected a long recovery, but Tammy healed so quickly that she was discharged from the hospital and allowed to go home 4 days early. The results were stunning. Tammy began sharing her transformation with fans on TikTok, posting selfies in sleek black shapewear and glamorous outfits that highlighted her new shape. Her face looked slimmer than ever, and her sharp jawline and radiant smile left fans speechless. Supporters flooded her comment sections with love and admiration. One fan wrote, Love that you've been so dedicated and successful with your weight loss journey. Tammy, you don't need the filter, you have nothing to hide. Another fan commented, brought a tear to my eye. It's been honestly so inspiring and amazing to watch your journey. Never been prouder of a stranger in my life. For fans who had watched since season 1, Tammy's progress felt almost surreal. Many admitted they never thought they'd see this day that Tammy would finally beat the odds and reclaim her life. And Tammy's transformation isn't just about her weight. She's also embraced a new chapter in her personal life. In June 2025, Tammy shocked fans when she announced her engagement to her girlfriend, Andrea Dalton, during an appearance on the Creative Chaos podcast. At first, she casually referred to Andrea as her fiancé. But when the host pressed her for details, Tammy showed off her diamond ring with a glowing smile. She even wore a necklace with Andrea's name on it. Tammy described their relationship as simple and down-to-earth, explaining that they love going to Walmart together just to walk around. It wasn't about flashy dates or extravagance, it was about enjoying each other's company. Fans could see the joy on Tammy's face as she talked about Andrea. And for many, it was proof that Tammy had finally found happiness, both inside and out. Meanwhile, 1000 Del B Sisters has continued to document Tammy's transformation. Season 7, which premiered in April 2025, showed Tammy revealing that she had dropped more than 500 pounds, bringing her weight down to an astonishing 238 pounds. For someone who once weighed over 700 pounds, this milestone is almost unimaginable. Viewers who had followed her journey from the very beginning were stunned by the before and after images. Tammy's new look is almost unrecognizable compared to the woman viewers first met 5 years ago. At public appearances such as a meet and greet in Kentucky in June 2025, fans were floored by her transformation. Many admitted they walked right past her without realizing it was Tammy. Her radiant smile, her slimmer face, and her newfound confidence created an image that fans could hardly believe. Tammy herself has admitted that she sometimes struggles to process how far she has come. She has described the experience as both shocking and overwhelming. After 6 years and losing over 500 pounds, I was finally approved for surgery, she told People magazine. I was just overwhelmed with excitement. I worked really hard for this, and now it's here. I'm pretty sure it was noticeable on my face how immediately shocked and then overwhelmed with joy I was. Her transformation represents more than just weight loss, symbolizes resilience, strength, and hope. For years, Tammy was seen as the sister who might not make it. Even Amy admitted at one point that she feared Tammy wouldn't live long enough to see her dreams come true. But Tammy has proved everyone wrong. She has fought against addiction, grief, and her own doubts, and she has emerged stronger than ever. Fans continue to cheer her on, celebrating each milestone along the way. They recognize the incredible amount of work and dedication it took to get here. Many have shared how Tammy's story has inspired them to take control of their own health or to never give up, no matter how impossible life feels. Today, Tammy Slaton is not just a reality TV star, she's a symbol of perseverance. From a woman once trapped in her own body and reliant on oxygen to someone confidently posting selfies, walking independently, and sharing her love life with the world. Tammy's journey is one of the most remarkable transformations ever seen on reality television. And yet, Tammy herself says she's still adjusting to her new life. The journey isn't over, it's just a new beginning. With Andrea by her side, her family supporting her, and millions of fans cheering her on. Tammy Slaton is stepping into a future that once seemed impossible. Her story...
The day you and Amanda are still sisters, okay? Do y'all want to talk?
When 1000 Del B Sisters first premiered on TLC in January 2020, viewers were introduced to Tammy Slaton and her younger sister Amy, to women whose combined weight was close to 1,000 pounds. It was a number so staggering that it seemed almost impossible to imagine. But behind the shock factor, audiences quickly connected to the sisters' humor, honesty, and raw vulnerability. What followed was a journey unlike anything reality TV had seen before, one filled with devastating health scares, small victories, tragic losses, and one of the most dramatic transformations in reality television history. Tammy began her journey on the show weighing 608 pounds. From the very beginning, her story was defined by struggles with food addiction, depression, and extreme mobility issues. Walking even a few steps left her gasping for air. At times, she relied on a wheelchair, a walker, and even supplemental oxygen just to get through the day. Doctors warned her repeatedly that her body was reaching its breaking point. But for a while, the wake-up call just didn't stick. Instead of losing weight, Tammy gained more. By late 2021, she reached her heaviest point ever, 725 pounds. That same year, Tammy faced the scariest moment of her life. In November 2021, she was rushed to the hospital and placed in a medically induced coma for an entire week. After her lungs collapsed and her body began to shut down, doctors didn't know if she would survive. For her family and fans, it was a terrifying moment that seemed to confirm their worst fears. But somehow, Tammy pulled through. When she finally opened her eyes, it became a turning point. After recovering from the coma, Tammy made the decision to enter a rehabilitation facility. At first, it wasn't easy. She struggled with the restrictions, the strict diets, and the emotional toll of changing habits she had relied on her entire life. But over time, she began to adjust. Slowly but surely, the numbers on the scale started to drop. Within her first few months, Tammy lost 60 pounds, giving her a glimpse of hope she hadn't felt in years. By July 2022, her determination began paying off in a major way. After dropping down to 534.7 pounds, Tammy officially qualified for bariatric surgery, the life-saving operation she had been striving toward for years. For Tammy, this was more than a medical milestone, it was a sign that her life wasn't over yet. Following the surgery, Tammy committed herself to a new way of living. She spent 14 months in rehab, where she not only focused on diet and exercise, but also on the emotional and psychological aspects of her journey. The program forced her to confront her food addiction, her grief, and the self-sabotaging habits that had held her back for so long. By December 2023, Tammy's progress was astonishing. She had lost a total of 440 pounds, bringing her weight down to 285 pounds. For the first time in years, she no longer needed her oxygen tube. She could walk without a wheelchair. She could breathe more easily, move more freely, and even fit into a regular car seat, something that had been impossible for much of her adult life. These victories, while small to some, were monumental for Tammy. Her weight loss continued into 2024, and by August of that year, Tammy celebrated her biggest milestone yet, a 500-pound loss. She had reached 225 pounds, a number that once seemed unimaginable. Fans from around the world were stunned, and social media lit up with praise, admiration, and disbelief. Tammy Slaton, the woman many had doubted would survive, had shed more than 2/3 of her body weight. But Tammy's transformation wasn't just about the scale. After losing so much weight, she was left with a new challenge: excess skin. For anyone who loses hundreds of pounds, excess skin is inevitable. It can cause physical pain, rashes, balance issues, and emotional discomfort. For Tammy, it was a constant reminder of the body she used to live in, and it often kept her from fully enjoying her progress. Qualifying for skin removal surgery was another hurdle, even though she had lost over 500 pounds by 2024. Her doctors repeatedly refused to approve her for the procedure. The reason wasn't her weight, it was her habits. Tammy was still vaping, and her protein intake was inconsistent. Dr. Eric Smith, her bariatric surgeon, explained that nicotine use hinders healing by restricting oxygen levels in tissues, dramatically increasing the risk of complications. At the same time, her low protein levels meant her body wasn't getting the nutrients needed to recover from such an intense surgery. For a while, these setbacks left Tammy frustrated. She had come so far, but her own choices were keeping her from moving forward. Determined not to let this be the end of her progress, Tammy made big changes. She quit vaping, cleaned up her diet, and focused on meeting the strict nutritional requirements. And finally, in January 2025, she was approved for surgery. The operation itself was extensive, Surgeons removed 15 pounds of excess skin from Tammy's chin, arms, and stomach. For Tammy, this was even more terrifying than her bariatric surgery. She admitted that the night before, she was freaking terrified, worried about how she would look and whether her body could handle the stress. But once again, Tammy defied the odds. Not only was the surgery a success, but her recovery went better than anyone expected. Doctors were so impressed with her healing that they discharged her from the hospital 4 days early. The results were incredible. Tammy's face, once defined by heavy jowls and swelling, slimmed dramatically. Her jawline emerged, her cheeks were lifted, and she looked like a completely different person. Fans flooded her TikTok with support as she began posting photos with her girlfriend, Andrea Dalton, proudly showing off her new look. For Tammy, it wasn't just about appearance, it was about feeling comfortable in her own skin for the first time in her life. Tammy's emotional growth was just as profound as her physical changes. She admitted that the transformation had been overwhelming, not only because of the way she looked, but also because of the way she felt. For years, she had battled insecurity, self-sabotage, and grief. But now, each time she looked in the mirror, she saw strength, resilience, and proof that she had survived what once seemed impossible. In April 2025, during Season 7 of 1000 LB Sisters, Tammy reflected on her journey. Weighing 238 pounds, she spoke about how her improved mobility, confidence, and independence had changed her life. Simple things walking into a store, sitting in a booth at a restaurant, or traveling were now possible. Tammy even took part in a commercial for a fireworks retailer, filmed by Ezeal Film Co., where she proudly showed off her new body. Walking through the aisles, it was clear how much had changed. The excess skin that once dragged her down was gone. Her steps were steadier, her balance stronger, and her smile brighter than ever. But Tammy isn't the only member of the Slaton family who has pursued skin removal surgery. Her brother Chris Combs underwent the procedure first. When he debuted on the show in 2020, Chris weighed over 450 pounds. By 2022, he had qualified for bariatric surgery, and soon after, he shed 150 pounds. During Season 6, Chris went through his own skin removal surgery, describing it from his hospital bed as the best journey I've ever decided to take and stick with. Now, Tammy's younger sister, Amy Slaton, is hoping to follow in their footsteps. Like Tammy and Chris, Amy has dealt with excess skin after her rapid weight loss. She was actually the first sibling to qualify for bariatric surgery early in the series. And over the years, she has celebrated her own transformation. But skin removal surgery is still out of reach. During Season 7, Amy visited her doctor to get an update, only to be told she needed to lose an additional 30 pounds before qualifying. It was a setback, but Amy remains determined. She has made it clear that she intends to reach her goal and join her siblings in taking that next step. The journey of the Slaton siblings has never been easy. From the earliest days of the show, their struggles were on full display: health problems, family arguments, and even heartbreaks. Tammy, in particular, faced unimaginable lows, including the tragic loss of her husband, Caleb Willingham, in 2023. But through it all, their resilience has shined through. Tammy's story, especially, is one of the most remarkable in reality TV history. From weighing over 700 pounds and nearly dying in a coma to now weighing just over 230 pounds. Walking independently and living confidently, her transformation is a symbol of hope. She has shown millions of fans that even when the odds are stacked against you, change is possible. Today, Tammy Slaton is embracing her new life with courage, determination, and love. With Andrea by her side, her family supporting her, and fans cheering her on, she is proof that perseverance pays off. Her story is no longer just about weight loss.
I was at a strip mall, and I did get startled a time or two. But what really scared?
When 1000 LB Sisters first premiered on TLC in 2020, audiences met Amy and Tammy Slaton, two sisters from rural Kentucky whose combined weight was close to 1,000 pounds. Their sharp humor, quirky mispronunciations, and fiery sibling clashes made them instantly memorable. But beneath the laughter lay a deeper reality. Both sisters were fighting for their health, their independence, and their futures. Tammy's near-death health crises and dramatic transformation have often taken center stage. But Amy's journey has been equally powerful, though very different. Over 7 seasons, fans have watched Amy undergo bariatric surgery, become a mother, face divorce, fall in love again, and prepare for her next big milestone: skin removal surgery. Along the way, the show itself has evolved, leaving some fans questioning whether it still captures the raw storytelling that first made the Slatons beloved. This is Amy Slaton's story, her triumphs, her struggles, and the path that lies ahead, along with a closer look at where 1,000 Delby sisters could go from here. Amy's decision to change, unlike Tammy, who resisted medical advice early on. Amy made the decision before season 1 even aired to undergo gastric sleeve surgery. Her motivation wasn't only about her health, it was her lifelong dream of becoming a mother. Doctors had warned Amy that pregnancy at her size was dangerous, but she wasn't willing to give up on having children. The surgery went ahead in 2019, and soon after, Amy's dream came true. She gave birth to her first son, Gage, with her then-husband, Michael Halterman. Later, their second son, Glenn, was born. For viewers who had cheered her on from the start, Amy's journey into motherhood was a moment of triumph. But life as a new mom brought challenges, and her marriage began to crumble under the weight of parenting pressures and health struggles. Eventually, Amy and Michael went their separate ways, finding love again after her divorce. Amy faced the daunting task of raising 2 young boys as a single mother, while still focusing on her health. Her vulnerability during this time struck a chord with fans, who admired her honesty about feeling overwhelmed yet determined. New hope entered her life when she met Brian Scott Lovern, who quickly became a central figure in season 7. Viewers saw Amy rediscover happiness as her relationship with Brian blossomed. By the season's end, Amy revealed they were engaged, a fresh chapter symbolizing stability, love, and new beginnings. For years, Amy's storyline revolved around weight, surgery, and setbacks. With Brian by her side, she began to show fans a softer side, one focused on building a family and future beyond the scale. A healthier lifestyle. Amy's weight loss hasn't been as dramatic as Tammy's, but she has been quietly working on her health. One way she stays accountable is by sharing photos of her meals on Instagram. Her posts show neatly styled plates of balanced food, grilled salmon, roasted Brussels sprouts, fresh asparagus, far healthier than the carb-heavy processed meals she and Tammy grew up on. Amy even grows her own vegetables, teaching Gage and Glenn to enjoy cauliflower and leafy greens. For Amy, these choices aren't just about her body. They're about breaking generational cycles of unhealthy eating. Fans praise her food posts, saying they motivate them to make better choices too. In this way, Amy has turned her social media into a community, a place where encouragement flows both ways. Breaking free from the past, Amy's transformation is even more striking when you remember her past. After losing their grandmother, who had been a guiding force, Amy and Tammy were largely left to fend for themselves. Their mother worked multiple jobs, and the sisters survived on quick, cheap meals like ramen noodles and frozen pizza. Food became comfort, escape, and celebration, a pattern that led to severe emotional eating by their teens. Both girls were already trapped in habits that would eventually endanger their lives. Understanding this background makes Amy's recent commitment to change even more powerful. She isn't just improving her own health. She's rewriting the future for her children, ensuring they won't repeat the same struggles she and Tammy endured. Reaching new milestones since surgery, Amy has experienced fluctuations, especially during pregnancy. Still, she has managed to maintain much of her progress. In one emotional season 7 moment, Amy revisited the junkyard where she and Tammy had once weighed themselves on an industrial scale. This time she stepped onto the scale and saw 249 pounds, more than 150 pounds, lost. While proud, Amy knows her journey isn't over. Her next goal is skin removal surgery. A procedure that would free her from the physical discomfort of excess skin and boost her confidence. Doctors told her she needs to lose another 30 pounds before qualifying, but Amy is determined to get there. For her, it isn't about vanity. It's about finally feeling at home in her body. The family's shared struggles. Amy isn't the only sibling making progress. Her brother, Chris Combs, underwent bariatric surgery in 2022 after weighing over 450 pounds. He lost more than 150 pounds and later had skin removal surgery in season 6. His positive outlook and determination made him a fan favorite, and his journey often mirrors Amy's. Together with Tammy, Chris, and sister Amanda, Amy's story highlights the generational and family-wide impact of obesity. Their shared determination has inspired viewers who see themselves reflected in the Slaton struggles and victories. Fans and production choices, while the Slaton family's journeys remain compelling. Some fans feel the show itself has lost balance. Early seasons, mixed humor, family drama, and health struggles in equal measure. But more recent episodes often focus heavily on Wayne's or repeat storylines. Viewers miss seeing the fuller sides of the Slatons' lives. For example, at her heaviest, Tammy often filmed with friends, a messy but entertaining part of her story that showcased her personality. Now that she's healthier and more mobile, fans want to see more of her social life, her independence, and how she navigates freedom. Similarly, Amy's parenting journey could be explored more deeply. Fans want to see how she balances motherhood with health goals, especially as she prepares for skin removal surgery and a new marriage. Many believe the show could reclaim its early magic by leaning into these human elements, rather than repeating the same weight loss milestones. Looking forward as 1000 Delby Sisters moves toward an 8th season, Amy's next steps remain central to the narrative. With her upcoming wedding to Brian, her ongoing role as a mother, and her determination to qualify for skin removal surgery, her story is far from over. Amy's journey is about more than pounds lost. It's about overcoming a painful childhood, breaking free from unhealthy cycles, and proving that transformation is possible even after setbacks. For viewers, her honesty and resilience make her deeply relatable. She has grown from a woman struggling to become a mother into someone embracing love, family, and a healthier future. And though the show may shift in tone or focus, Amy's journey continues to inspire messy, real, and undeniably human.